Hey, welcome to this bonus episode of Time to Level Up. I am thrilled to be putting this out there for you because I got to talk to two great clients. The reason I wanted to talk to them is because I wanted them to share their stories with you about how things have changed for them and how they have created success in their businesses. Both are moms and both are business owners in different industries, but they both have found success over the past year in their business, but also in their life. So here we go. You're listening to the Time to Level Up podcast. I'm your host, business life coach Andrea Liebross. I help women in business commit to their own growth personally and professionally. Each week, I'll bring you strategies to help you think clearly, gain confidence, make your time productive, turn every obstacle into an opportunity, and finally overcome the overwhelm so that you can make money and manage life. Let's create a plan so you have a profitable business, successful career, and best of all, live with unapologetic ambition. Are you ready to drop the drama and figure out the how in order to reach your goals? You're in the right place. It's time to level up. Let's do this. My first guest today is Sandy Ginn. She is a mom and a wife, and she's also a realtor. As you're listening to her story, I really want you to think about how getting a handle on what the big picture of her business was and what it could be really led her to creating success. So she was already a few months into her business when we first started talking, but the transformation that she has experienced over the past year, it's really been amazing. She has grown a successful business, but she's also changed as a person. Take a listen. Sandy and I worked together for a while as she began her next career in a path of several in real estate. So, Sandy, I just want you to introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and what hats do you wear?
I'm Sandy Ginn. I am a realtor with Century 21 Sheets. I have gone through many seasons of life and wear many different hats. I'm married to Tim Ginn. I'm mother of Nick, Max, and Marley. Age ranges 22, 19, and 17, coming into a season of life where my last one will be leaving, hopefully in 6 months. I'm an advisor to my clients. I'm a friend to my girlfriends, and I'm a passionate member of our greater Indianapolis community.
Love it. So, what were some results, specific and tangible results of engaging in coaching? What came out of it all for you?
What came out from a high level was a vision of what I wanted to be and also an assurance that I could be that. And as you look down to specific results, I always think results are measurements. It's actual performance. My first full calendar year, I finished in the top 21 at Century 21's Carmel office, number 12. My revenue was award winning from a national Century 21 level. I actually met the criteria to be in the master's retreat. They say we're going to Hawaii still this year, so we'll see. And then there's personal financial goals. I went from being new and doing this for fun to being a player, a sought out player in the marketplace.
I love it. What do you think was getting in your way of achieving all of that on your own? Because you didn't come to me on day one. You were a few months in, right?
A few months in, honestly, I think when I started doing this, I was reaching out to people. And I think one of the best conversations I had was with you when we sat down and we just talked about it. And I think what really, really made me think and challenge me was kind of putting that big picture out there and thinking, you helped me think bigger than myself. I mean, I always knew I could think big, but you put it in a realistic framework and then broke down the pieces as to, well, of course you can get there, but here's pillar one, here's pillar two, pillar 3 and pillar 4, what you need to do to get there. And I felt like every time I met with you, it was like meeting with a client. You held me accountable. I had my things I need to do. I didn't get overwhelmed. I broke it down. And there's so many, I think, particularly in the business that I'm in, you feel alone. You have a lot of people that want to give you input or think they're helping you. But at the end of the day, it's really on you. And you helped me kind of take me and frame it to where I wanted to go. And it's really hard to do all by yourself.
It is hard to do by yourself. I have a hard time doing it by myself. That's why I have coaches, right?
Right.
Because you can do it by yourself, but two brains are better than one.
I agree.
So you mentioned to me before that one of the things you wanted from coaching was a business framework. Tell me more about that.
I wanted one of the things I learned in my seasons of careers, and I was in the consulting season of career, is you can get out ahead of your skis really quick and chase the things that are exciting for you. And in sales, in real estate, it's chasing business. And it's getting yourself to a position where you're going to be so busy that you don't have the tools and the processes and things in place to make that business run and to serve your clients well. Because that experience is what's going to actually build the business for you. It's people saying, this was a really, really good experience. Let's continue to have that. Okay. The other thing is you could chase it so quickly that you're not actually looking at, well, what does 3 months look like, 12 months, 18 months? So you could make yourself really busy for a short period of time, but not have a model for that business to last a long time. So then you're dealing with peaks and valleys, and you still don't get processes in place, creates a lot more stress. And I think you're doing a lot more work, to maintain that kind of the highs and lows versus having an even keeled way of going about business.
What did you think of that business plan we created?
It was good. I love, first of all, again, it goes back to, and I'm sitting here, we talked about the growth of the business. We talked about the processes of the business and what are those key processes. And then also about balance in my life. And to me, I'm a visual person. It showed me all the different pieces that had to come together to make it work. I did get a lot of confidence and satisfaction in looking back at it to see what we achieved. And that made me believe that I could do more. And I think that's sometimes I'm always scared of putting things down on paper because I'm like, oh gosh, I have to do this now. But what's really great, if you can allow yourself to do it, you look back and say, I did it. And that just allows you to grow and evolve more and quicker. I also learned in that process, I really like one piece of my business more than I like another. And I like marketing and I like talking to people. And you're going to laugh when I say this, I hate accounting. And I'm an accounting major, which is quite funny that this is the other reason why people need coaching is this. You start your career and your life in one way, and you take those experiences and you build on it and you grow and you grow and you become who you're supposed to become. And I love talking to these kids coming out of college because I'm like, just pick something and grow with it. And I feel like that's what I've done with my career. But going back to the accounting thing is I also learned that if I'm not going to pay attention to it, I need to outsource this. I need to find the right resources that complement me. I don't need to find people that are just like me. I need to find people to help me that bring a different perspective into that. One, that's a coach. And two, then that would be, processes in your business.
I do remember the accounting piece, the finance piece of that business plan was the piece that you avoided the most. That told us something, right?
I still do. I mean, there's always room for improvement, right?
Right. There's always room for improvement. Now, I asked you a question earlier before we started recording. How did coaching bring you closer or help you achieve the desired outcome? And you mentioned something about tasks and timelines and accountability. Were those pieces key? Because, I'm guessing a lot of my clients have a hard time creating that stuff for themselves and following through on it. Did that?
Oh, absolutely. Because for me, and we go back to this business plan, and I'm sitting here with my binder right now. I mean, this binder.
Do you still have your binder?
Yeah, it does not leave my office. I go back to it, I reread it. And because I have really, really good notes in it that when you stray away from your core values and principles, you go back to it and you refocus and you have those moments whether it's year 1, year 3, year 5, year 7, like going back to that foundation keeps me, I don't want to say honest, but real in what I'm trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about accountability. Accountability accelerated my ability to be in business. I remember looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to be top of mind. Social media, my social media platform is ticking now. It's just part of what I do at the beginning of every month. And I remember sitting in your office being like, how do I do that? What do I do?
Me too.
How do you stay top of mind? And then that evolved into a website. And I remember last fall being like, I think I need to go to this next level. I think this, and to me, my brain's always saying, hey, my business is going on like this. This is a business going in the internet world. I need to be a part of it. I have to be a part of it. Okay. Well, it wasn't something like, well, maybe next year I get to it. It was by the end of the year, it was done. And one of the things I loved about working with you is, and I think this is so valuable with a coach, is the type of people you have around you. And everyone seems to have that drive for excellence. They take their business and what they do, how they go about their business and how they deliver results. It radiates through. So even working with you, if you ever recommended someone to me, my website designer, my photographer, it was a consistent type of culture and person that you were working with. And it's fun to be around people like that. And it's fun to value their skill sets that are different than yours. So even though they're not working in my business, I consider them part of my team. And we all are kind of working together to help people be successful. And that, to me, from a long-term value, it's immeasurable. I mean, I just love working with people like that. And I think people like you attract people that want to do business a certain way.
Yeah, I think that's so true. Because you do want, even though they're not your employees, they're part of your team, right? And you want to be on the same page in terms of striving to create something excellent, whatever their specialty is or whatever they do, right? So that's talk about investing. Are you investing in the right people, right? And what do you invest in? And what do you do yourself?
And relationships.
Questions. In relationships.
And relationships, right?
Yeah.
And I definitely found those in that experience as well.
Good. So thinking back before you decided, I think I need to go into coaching, or I think I need a coach. What do you think what were your concerns or what was holding you back? And now looking back upon it in hindsight, was it ridiculous that you were even thinking that, or were some of them real? Like, what were your concerns in the beginning?
Well, I guess there's two concerns probably. What are we going to accomplish? What does that look like, right? Because you're kind of going in, when you go into coaching, you're going in, you don't know what you need. I mean, that's other than, something's missing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then expense and giving yourself the permission to make the investment. And when you're starting something new, it's a hard thing to do because you feel like I don't deserve that experience because I haven't proven that result to have that experience. And you actually have to run them side by side, right? You have to give yourself the permission to have the experience to make the investment to get the result. So when you get into coaching, sometimes you're not going to know you needed it until it's done.
Yes.
And you have to kind of trust your gut in it and trust what people are saying around you and dive in and go for it.
Love it. So did you get what you were looking for, the results that you were looking for?
Absolutely. I mean, I would say a tangible, when we talk about tangible results, we're talking about numbers, performance, compensation, and then the intangible, reputation, top of mind, confidence. And I can give you perspective too. When you kind of inch away from it, some of that intangible stuff you lose. Some of that organization you lose. Some of that acceleration, that drive to keep pushing forward, you lose. So there's tangible, but there's also intangible, just how you carry yourself and put yourself out there every day. So
love it.
I would say there's both.
Love it. Okay, to wrap up, what's your favorite Andrea-ism or Andrea saying? What sticks out in your mind as something that, your little voice of Andrea is in the back of your head?
Mine's pretty simple. I always liked your little analysis of the thought. We would always go through my thought because I think my thinking is very, my thoughts can get away from me. But the best was you would always look at me and say, "Who cares?" And I look at you and be like, "Who cares?" I'm like, "You're right. Who cares?" But really, I mean,
Really, right?
sometimes those are, and I'm sure I'm the only one that will ever say that in your podcast. But sometimes we just get trapped in things that don't matter. And I think your practical thinking and putting it all in perspective, like in 3 days, this does not matter. And not allowing me to let it matter. I think that's part of it too. Like, yeah, who cares? Move on. We're on to the next thing. I'm like, okay, here we go.
Sounds good.
So
that's great. That is great. So how can people find you if they are looking to buy or sell a house in the Indianapolis area, or really anywhere, right?
Anywhere. I can help you anywhere. The best way to find me, it's really, really simple. sandyginn.com. Just put my website out there. I'm publishing information about the real estate market, about the community, about relocation to other areas of the country. Should be a good resource. Just go on there and you will find me. And
we will have that in the show notes. So they'll have a link in there.
Second. So,
all right. Thank you so much for taking time to talk this morning.
Oh, I always love talking to you. Thank you.
My second guest today is Brenda Petruska. And Brenda's a wife and a mom, and she's also a business owner. I think in listening back to our conversation, one of the biggest things I took away was that she changed from thinking about her business as a jobby, kind of like a job mixed with a hobby, to really a job where she could create change. The other piece I took away from this was her shift in thinking about, or realization really, that she was taking just passive action. She was just stuck in all of the learning and trying to figure things out. And she shifted to taking massive action, to doing the hard things and the uncomfortable, but the stuff that was really going to create that success for her. So buckle up and listen in. Today, I am lucky and happy and thrilled to have my client, Brenda, share with you her story, a little bit of her success story in terms of how coaching has helped her personally and professionally and just where she was and where she is now. So Brenda, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us who you are and, as I like to say, all of the different hats you wear.
Oh, awesome. Hi, thanks for having me. Let's see. I'm a mom to 2 adult children. I'm a wife, a sister, a daughter, but very exciting. I'm a granddaughter. My grandma is 95, so I'm so blessed to still have a grandma, and that's exciting. So I'd like to share that.
That is.
Yeah. So I am a peer group facilitator. I facilitate some groups, and I'm also own my own business. I am a life coach. I coach women who really are stuck, looking for direction, mainly women who have been through a betrayal in their marriage.
It's a heavy topic. They need you.
Yeah.
They need you. Okay. So what do you think have been some of the real tangible results of your decision to actually engage in coaching? What has come of it?
Well, I absolutely have more clients than I've ever had. Very exciting. I've held successful workshops, and I actually have workshops scheduled for every month this year that I'll be hosting.
Love
that is really cool.
You've got a plan.
Yeah. And really, I'm working in my business every day, and I'm just not feeling lost and behind like I was. So to give you a little more perspective, I'd been in business for over a year, and I just really my wheels were just spinning, but I wasn't really getting anywhere. Wasn't having a lot of momentum.
Okay. How were you thinking of your business before we started working together? And how do you think about it now?
Yeah. Well, I like to think that I was always busy. I really was. I'm so busy. I wasn't really having a lot of progress or outcomes. So in Andrea terms, is your business a job or a jobby? And that really hit me. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if I told you this, but I think you asked me that question. And as I thought about it, it really brought tears to my eyes. I started crying because I really had some awakening to the fact that, and I want this to be a career, a job, not just a jobby.
I find a lot of women, even if they are not their own business owner, even if they're working for someone else, they're not necessarily serious about it. It's more of like a hobby. So I call it a jobby. And that does hit home because as soon as you start thinking about something as a job or a profession versus just something you do every day, it changes the perspective.
I really needed a starting point and some direction, I think. I think I just didn't really have a direction, and I needed some strategies and some mindsets. And yeah, that jobby thought really created some feelings inside of me that I wanted to really change the thought behind that.
So what do you think was getting in your way of doing all of that on your own?
Myself, number one. Myself, my mindset, my thinking, negative self-talk. Lack of direction, comparison.
Compare and despair?
Yeah. Comparison's the thief of joy, and looking at others and I'm busy too, but not really getting that done. Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of now think about coaching, and we're still working together, by the way, right? We're just in different, the format has changed. But were there benefits, not just professionally, but also personally? Like, tell me a little bit about how you think you've benefited from coaching.
Personally, I've benefited learning to give myself some grace and talking more kindly to myself and keeping agreements with myself. That's a big one for me. Trusting myself and really just remembering I just have to do the next right thing.
Yes, I know. We've had a lot of conversations where you're 20 steps down the road or want to be. I'm like, wait a second. Yeah. What's just the next thing we have to do? The next thing.
Yeah, so that's hard. I would say that's really personally and professionally, really much of the same. But also I've learned a time management system that's allowed me to pitch the to-do list and keep me on task. Definitely need that. And it's really helped me get into more massive action. I know you often talk about massive versus passive action. And, like I said, realizing just do one thing at a time.
You were doing a lot of like reading and listening to podcasts. Not that that's a bad thing. I know you were really into learning, right?
Exactly. Basically the next shiny thing. What do I need next? What do I need to know? What do I need to learn? What do I need to listen to? It was really keeping me from doing the action. It was keeping me more stuck, more in the passive rather than the massive action. Now I have more confidence and more direction to move forward, to grow my business. And just remembering that, coaches need coaches too, even though I thought things like, I already know this stuff, don't I? There were things that held me back at first. Like, I'm not sure about this, the cost. I should already know this. I'm a coach myself. What will my husband think? All those things. But coaches need coaches too. So I'm so glad that I said yes and moved forward.
Yeah. And what did your husband think?
I didn't really have that conversation with him right away.
Okay.
A little bit. And then he knew your name, but then the credit card bill came one day. He's like, tell me more about this, Andrea. But we've had a lot of conversations since, and he has certainly seen the change in me personally and professionally. And I don't think he has any doubt now, for sure.
Good. Yeah. So it created probably some more conversations that were like hard conversations, right?
It
did. You're not alone in that. A lot of times I think my clients or my prospective clients are worrying about what someone else in their life is going to think about this, even though they know deep down inside that this is something that they want to do for themselves. They worry about that. It's normal. But I think more times than not, if they decide to move forward, it actually improves their dialogue and conversation with that other person because they start to become a little more trusting of their own decisions and talking about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What I was going to say is I think we came to, you and I working together, the realization that a lot of it was about me trusting myself. And which has been a big theme.
Yeah.
All through our coaching. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you think coaching brought you closer to the outcomes you were wanting? Like, give me a couple thoughts on when you had those outcomes in your mind. This is what I want. How did it help you get there?
Well, I think real accountability
Mm-hmm.
and just addressing and bringing out some of those things that, I don't want to feel insecure and to realize that these are really happening inside, these thoughts and these feelings I'm getting because of these thoughts. So I think just boiling all that down with someone else,
Okay.
with
Yeah.
coach, was
So
very
things got
helpful.
clear.
Yeah,
Right? They
for
got
sure.
clear. Yeah. Was it helpful in prioritizing? Did coaching help you kind of sort through some of that stuff and figure out what to prioritize and what not to prioritize?
Yes, because I can hear you saying, just do the next thing.
Yeah.
Whereas I would be stuck and just kind of spinning because I had so many things to do. I didn't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then another takeaway that I really had, these are my favorite Andrea sayings, is,
Yeah. Tell me.
I'm only doing it to get better at it for the next time. So when I was creating a workshop and maybe some of the techie wheels were falling off, that's okay. Another favorite Andrea saying, that's okay. At the end of a sentence, just gives you that like breath and release and relax, like it's going to be okay. But just knowing that, I might have to change something up a little bit. And I'm learning from that, and it'll be better the next time because of what I learned from it this time.
It will. It will. That is, I know Brenda had COVID and she was about to do a workshop or an event, right? The next week. And I remember you kind of thinking like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But we just had to go for what was the next thing you were going to do, right? The next thing. And it turned out really well, right?
And there's so much relief in that too. Like, just what's the one next thing? That's all I have to focus on right now. Yeah, it turned out great.
Well, thank you so much for sharing some of your insights and helping others probably think about things that are going on in their own brains.
Absolutely.
What's the best way for people to find you if they need help from a coach like you? Because I'm sure some people are listening who may need your help.
Awesome question. My website is brendapetruska.com. I'm on Facebook under Brenda Petruska Coaching is my business coaching Facebook. And Instagram is brenda.petruska. And Petruska is Petruska.
It's a hard one to spell. But we will have all of that in the show notes. So head over there if you want the links and don't want to spell.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrea.
Don't you just love listening to those stories? Because I do. Here's what I'm going to leave you with. I would love for you to join me in my masterclass on March 3rd or 4th. And I also would love you to join me in the next round of Committed to Growth. This is my group coaching program. And inside what we do is we change the way you think about things, so your mindset, plus we provide tactics so that you can up-level your business. You know that you love what you do, but you know that there's more out there. There's more money, there's more clients, there's more success, there's more promotions, and you are ready to create that for yourself. You're tired of trying to just figure it out, and you're tired of going it alone. So the women in that group, the change that they are creating in their lives is about so much more than being successful. The kind of change that we are creating allows them to no longer white knuckle it and feel miserable. And then when they do get the results they're looking for, they are sustainable. So I'm committed in a way that the group program is structured to really give them everything they need, the support, the tools, and the thinking, so that they feel equipped to do business and life feeling in control and equipped to take care of themselves as they really go through what I like to call being human. So it's a rich process in changing the way that they show up for their business, for themselves, and really for their family. They're changing the way they do things, the way they navigate, the way they deal with stress, the way they approach and deal with challenges. And because the work we're doing in this transformative and profound way, the process, this proven process, isn't just about growing their business or a career, although that's a result. It's about up-leveling this part of life. And by doing so, that is how they are creating more, the results they want. And that is how the results actually become sustainable. So I want you to imagine, how different would things be for you? How different would things feel for you? How different would your results be if you weren't stressing out about things? If you gave yourself the tools so that you can flow through all of it versus resisting it, and maybe even laughing about it along the way. So I hope you feel inspired and motivated and able to make decisions for yourself that create the results you want in your life on purpose. So if you would like to work with me directly inside my Committed to Growth group coaching program that starts on March 18th, go to andrealiebross.com/group-coaching and complete or start the enrollment process. Let's get started. Talk to you soon.